here. I'd like to invite up to the stage Sebastian Lebreton, product manager for Semtech, and Gabriel Nave, who's the VP of Business Development for Everynet. They are going to be talking about from development to deployment, free resources for getting started with LoRaWAN.
So why don't we go ahead and just do quick introductions of ourselves, and then we'll launch into our what we wanted to talk about today. So my name is Gabriel Nave, Vice President of Business Development, Country Manager for the US for Everynet, looking after the US business, and with me.
I'm Sebastian Lebreton. I'm a Principal Engineer at Semtech Corporation and Product Manager for LoRa Connect devices, and we're also in the, in the marketplace if we want to talk together.
Sebastian really doesn't know what we're doing here today. No, we've been working with the Semtech developer program to launch a new feature within the developer stack. And what we thought for this audience, what we would do is do both an introduction to what the Semtech developer stack has, as well as what we've launched that's new today. And so I'm going to turn it now over to Seb. He's going to talk a little bit about the mission of the LoRa Developer Portal for Semtech.
So I'm speaking in the name of a gentleman in the company called Steve Hagendorfer. He's behind all of this activity called what we call the Developer Portal. It's a great place for developers to be started anything related to LoRa and LoRaWAN really. So if you are new to the LoRaWAN ecosystem, if you want to know about the technology, how it works, how it's better, the use cases or anything like that, you can go to the LoRa Developer Portal and find a load of information related to the technology. So there's that much information that there's a specific structure that helps developer take a journey from not knowing anything. The technology, just like City of Calgary was explaining this morning, is complex to an extent. So if you're a developer, you're a rookie, you don't know about LoRa and LoRaWAN, you want to know how to get started. And that's exactly what the Developer Portal is doing for you, is making you take a journey to learn and build solution. So for this, we have forums, community forums, we have videos, we have blog posts, we have journals, we have extensive FAQ, so a whole lot of information to help you get started and find your responses to your questions. Now, if we look at how the information is structured on the Developer Portal, there's really a first section called the Learn section. So in there, you find learning resources. And the, let's say, the North Star of that part of the learning resource is the LoRaWAN Academy. Back in the day, 3-4 years ago, that was like a private resource, but with the LoRa Alliance support, we've been opening the LoRaWAN Academy to anyone, so it's available through the Developer Portal. And it's really meant to be a class, so start from zero, and after you've taken the LoRaWAN Academy, you are proficient, you know about LoRaWAN, and you can get started with your design. So I really recommend starting with the LoRaWAN Academy as a course, online course, self-paced, where you can learn about LoRaWAN. Then the second section is called Build, and inside Build you will find resources to build and deploy a solution. So you will find reference designs, schematics, software, firmware, things like that, that will help you get started. Raspberry Pi related libraries that you can plug up in your SD cards and start having gateways running with LoRaWAN coverage. So all of that is in the Build section of the Developer Portal. Now, Solutions is a different place. It's more business oriented. So the main question that I get when I come to these events is, oh, where can I find this sensor? Where can I find this pressure sensor, that water leak sensor? Where can I find this smart city sensor? And that's the main question we're being asked in these types of events. And the solutions part is effectively a catalog where people can place their own solutions and explain what they do, and that's a matchmaking place effectively between makers and people willing to make a business out of LoRa and LoRaWAN. So that's the solutions part. On the doc text and papers, you will find a collection of white papers, blog posts, technical journals, and things like that. The typical example for that is security. So many companies come and say, okay, what's the security of LoRaWAN? I've been reading this and that. So in that place, you will find white papers related to security. You will find specifications. So it's also a mirror of the Semtech official website, and will give you access to all of the product data sheets, user manuals, firmware reference designs, LoRaWAN L2 stack reference, so you know exactly what to download and run on your MCU for a LoRaWAN connection. So all of that is in docs and texts and tech papers. And finally, just like I said, there's a community running inside the dev portal where people can self-help and help each other by way of answering questions that the community has. There you go. I was missing one sentence. Oh, something went wrong on that slide. Yeah. So I spoke already about the LoRaWAN Academy. This is the welcome screen for the LoRaWAN Academy. I really encourage you to go and use the LoRaWAN Academy as a get started way of knowing anything about LoRaWAN. It's really well done, and a lot of material in there for you to get started. The last part, and the reason for being with Gabriel today on stage, is the network server. So obviously, as you've seen on the marketplace, there's a lot of suppliers for LNS, very good suppliers like, I'm not going to name them because I will forget them, but there's very good LNS vendors. But Semtech just wanted to give ability to developers to be able to get started with LoRaWAN without having to go and start commercial engagements that can take a long time. And what you can do with the Semtech network server is plug up a gateway of your own choosing, go on the open market and buy a gateway or a gateway reference design, plug it up to the network server. We have classes about this, step-by-step instructions on how to connect a Raspberry Pi with a LoRaWAN gateway to the LNS. And we're running an instance of the ChirpStack LNS at Semtech with a limit of 10 devices and 3 gateways, so that anyone for free can go and connect their gateway and start experimenting around LoRaWAN. So it's a good way, cheap, quick, explained way of connecting devices and gateways to a network, and have coverage so that the design of the end devices, the important part, is actually easy to do. And with this, I'm going to turn it on to Gabriel to explain what we're doing today.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
You want to say anything
of
about
course,
that slide?
Documentation for the network server, which obviously, if you want to run it, see there's a landing page where you can find user guides for using that experimental network server.
Okay, thank you, Sebastian. So I'm going to do a little bit about Everynet and then a little bit of how we are tying this together. So Everynet operates the largest neutral host LoRaWAN networks in the world in an open and highly resilient fashion, and entirely network server agnostic. And so lots of buzzwords in there, but the point of what we're doing is we're putting out 64-channel gateways here in the United States. We're putting out maximum frequency coverage on hardened infrastructure. So 99% of our gateways deployed in the US are on cell towers and managed through redundant backhaul, fully monitored by a 24/7 NOC. In fact, we're extracting over 50 data points out of every one of those gateways every minute to provide really granular and robust monitoring of that network infrastructure. And we treat that as shared infrastructure. So we're not coming in with our own network server and saying you have to use our network server and that tying it together for somebody. We make it completely network server agnostic. So that's unpacking, and my next 3 slides probably just cover exactly what I just said. So where are we? Everynet has deployed in 10 countries around the world to date, and started this project in Brazil, actually. You all who were in here from the last session have some interest in Brazil. We have a very strong network in Brazil. From there, we went to Indonesia, partnered with Telkom there to deploy a national LoRaWAN network in Indonesia, and then have been slowly spreading across Europe and the US. We started building in the US about 18 months ago, covering over 600 cities, 650 cities now in the United States there. If you go to our homepage, everynet.com, if you go to the US country site, there's a link there that'll take you to the coverage, so you can see where live coverage is today in the United States. We started the US build with Puerto Rico. Can't forget them. Is Felix here? I don't see him. Okay. We have great coverage in Puerto Rico if anybody wants to deploy something there. A couple more things about Everynet and how we build. Like I said, on cell tower infrastructure, carrier grade, almost always with battery backup to the gateways, sometimes as many as 10 days battery backup there. Everything you would expect there, and then pulling back to our global NOC. And we have a fully staffed 24/7 NOC outside of Milan, Italy, where that is actually a picture of our NOC, not something off of that we stole from the internet, where they're monitoring every single one of those gateways all the time and responding to trouble. The neutral host network architecture is interesting, important to us. We have your typical stack, IoT stack. Once you get beyond the Everynet cloud, let's see, do I have? Nope, I'm using that slide tomorrow. Once you get beyond the Everynet cloud, supporting multiple network servers out to API application layers, we really don't care which network server, which is part of what we're talking about today, is making it easy to bring the chirp stack LNS. So yeah, the value for that is that if you already have a network server deployed, you can easily integrate to our radio network. If you don't have a network server deployed and you're doing development in ChirpStack or on the Semtech developer, it's an easy way to migrate over into commercial production ChirpStack and use our RAN. We think about back-end roaming specification, for those of you who are familiar with that. The vast majority of private networks today don't have net IDs, and our RAN interface API allows you to use net ID 0 and still get access to our RAN without having to use the back-end roaming specification. So it's a fully, we can roam either way or provide coverage either way, regardless of what your deployment model already is. And mandatory ecosystem slide. We play really well with everybody in the industry because all we are about is providing that coverage across those geographies and allowing anybody to use it. So any LoRaWAN compliant device, I was looking for certification team people. Any LoRaWAN certified device, Dave, will work on our network compliant device. We're going to talk tomorrow in a panel about why you should have all your devices certified. Okay, so what we are introducing today, we were going to do this as a live demo to show you. Happy to do that at our table in the marketplace, but I'm going to have some slides that walk through it. We couldn't get a laptop up here to show you. Is the ability to go from that Semtech network server on their developer portal and easily add Everynet coverage to it. And so we've made, to the Semtech developer network, the ability to add all of Everynet's coverage with a simple checkbox. And the Semtech network server, or any ChirpStack server for that matter, will see the entire Everynet RAN as a single gateway. I don't know if it counts against their 3-gateway allotment or not. I never asked Steve that question. So the Semtech network server adds one gateway. It's called Everynet Gateway, and it covers everything. I'm going to walk through some slides showing how to do that. But if you're interested, we're launching this as an early access program today. It'll be completely self-service in about a month. The early access program, everynet.com/SDN, Semtech Developer Network. There's a form to fill out, and we'll get you access to the early access program. So to do this, you go to ns.loracloud.com.
So I think we still have the link for the sandbox
So
server over here.
when we do that, we'll get you out the slides. Those who are interested, or you fill out the form, we'll get you the LNS QA is the QA environment. We've moved into production 2 days ago. Don't have the screenshots for the QA or for the production environment, but they're identical. So you log in, register, or log in to the network, to the whatever your developer account is. From there, it'll take you into your dashboard, and you can select a network server, which region you want to add. So you would add, if you're here, you would add the US 915 region. Go into a device profile. If you don't have a device profile already for your device, you can create a new one. And then an application. This is all, if you've been in ChirpStack or you've been in their the Semtech developer program before, network server before, you may already have all of these steps already done. This is if you're starting from scratch. You can add a GPS tracker app, or you can add some other demo app. Once you have that application, you can add a device. And then when you add the device, you'll just click on Everynet coverage as a slider at the bottom. And once you do that, it won't change anything you've already done. So if you're already in the developer program, you're already on the Semtech network server, you already have a gateway or two on there, it won't change how you talk to those gateways. All it'll do is add all of the Everynet RAN to your coverage. So you can then go out from your developer lab and out into the wild with a device.
So for me, what it means is essentially divides by 4 the time it needs for you to get started on experimenting a device, right? Because all of a sudden, everything lights up, and if Everynet is covering your region, you don't even have to set up a gateway, which is a little bit of the more painful thing to do. But if you only have the device, just click that button, and then Everynet is covering you. So that's really useful.
Yeah, our hope is that, that many developers won't need any gateways. They can start natively using our network. And so add the application key, which you get from either you develop or you or publish, or you get it from your device provider. And really then it is done. So I've added a few of these. I'm a biz dev guy. I don't know if you caught that in my title. I took these instructions, they made me create a Semtech developer account so that I could present this to you live. I was actually going to go in and live show you how to do this because I'm that crazy of a biz dev guy who I'm just not a technology person, but it was really very easy to do. And it just worked. Yeah, I think that's what we have from our prepared remarks. Anybody have questions for us? I think we left time, right?
How many gateways is that in the US, Gabe, approximately?
So we're putting out 64-channel gateways on cell towers. It's a really fun project. How many of you have ever deployed gateways on cell towers? It's so much fun to try to find electricity. It's fun to try to make sure there's no bald eagles nesting on the towers. It's been fun. But let's in the many hundreds that we've put out over the last 18 months, and the deployment team at Crown Castle, who's managed that deployment for us, has said they've never seen any wireless network of any type go in as fast as what we've done over the last 18 months. It's been a very exciting and crazy process. In the Bay Area, there's certainly a handful of sites up in San Francisco. San Jose is very well covered.
I think you said Tampa Bay? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Tampa? Oh, yeah, Tampa's really well covered. Tampa's well covered. Orlando's well covered. South Florida is really well covered. Yeah. And we certainly, like I said, we have the coverage on our website, or I can show you. Grab me afterwards. I'll show you where we have coverage. Yeah.
There's actually a coverage map that you guys disclose on the website, on
Yes.
the Everynet website.
Yeah. Yeah. We have live coverage showing. Tampa's great. I like to hear those. I like to hear Tampa much better than some of the other places I get asked. Other questions? How many of you have used the Semtech developer program or been in there, have an account? I'll say this, so whether for you personally, because maybe some of you are further along, when I hire technical people on our team, that's one of their first tasks for like complete the LoRaWAN Academy in the first 3 months. It's not a sit down for a couple of hours academy. It is a very well built out, I think eight modules.
I'm not sure.
Do you remember? Yeah, it's like it's a full semester class at a university level to get through that. So highly recommend, whether for you personally or for others, to get in and look at the LoRaWAN Academy. And by the way, for the Brazilians in the room, I don't know, are we allowed to announce that? We are in the process of having the whole academy translated into Portuguese.
I didn't know that. Steve must know.
Sorry, we are working with Semtech to have that translated into Portuguese. I think it's launching in, never mind.
We are announcing that shortly, yes. So you all have a preview.
Sorry.
Great news for Brazil and for the academy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I only came in partway. Is there a fee, or how do you guys make money on it?
No, everything in, I'll let you answer for the Semtech side. So.
I will. So it's the ChirpStack LNS, and with the addition of the RAN from Everynet is the same. It's 3 gateways and 10 devices for free.
Yeah. So there's no charge for any of these. The LoRa Academy, LoRaWAN Academy is free. The use of the Semtech network server is free, but not for production uses. It's for developer purposes.
So once you're in production, how much does it cost?
The Semtech network server is not meant to be used in a production environment. So you would either move to a commercial network server or install your own instance of ChirpStack to do that. And we at Everynet could work with you in that migration process.
So the ChirpStack is open sourced, which means that you can do whatever you want with it, instantiate your own server and run your own service, tweak it, improve it. However, the one that we run, we instantiate for developers is what it is. And of course, we're open to improving functionality for the developers. Just like Gabriel said, it's not a commercial service, it's just for getting started. But ChirpStack is its own open source thing.
Yeah. And if you are taking a ChirpStack instance in your own environment and wanted to connect it to the Everynet RAN, we have published on GitHub a piece of middleware that you would install in your environment, and that then appears to your ChirpStack instance as another gateway, and then connects out to our RAN. Again, reach out to us for the details on how to get keys, because you have to get keys from us for that identified that middleware to us as you. And like I said, we don't care if you're using a NetID or not. You can add devices through ChirpStack.
Did the Evernet integrated with AWS IoT core?
I don't think there's been anything announced about that. I'm looking around the room. Are you on AWS IoT core? If you have questions about AWS IoT Core, I'm happy to talk afterwards.
All right, are there any more questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.